Welcome to the outskirts of Dalton, also known as Dalton-in-Furness, in the county of Cumbria, about 7 miles south of the Lake District border. And in front of me, just about 500 yards distance, I don't know if it's clear on that, but there is a building site. And this building site is not any ordinary building site. This building site is actually for a mosque. I was going to film up there up close, which I did, but I actually stopped because, quite frankly, I felt a bit intimidated, and I'll show you why in a minute. So it was just a general Tuesday afternoon. I had some free time, so I thought I'll go explore this construction site because, you know, I've actually known about the plans to build this for the past like 4 or 5 years. Since COVID time they were talking about this, and I never really thought it would happen just because there's not really that many Muslims in the area. So yeah, this really did interest me, and I'm just at the point where I'm trying to get into some like independent journalism. So I thought, you know, I'll actually go out, you know, get some video and record, but you know, I just stopped because there was, you know, there's signs for CCTV on either side of the road. There's signs about thieves beware. There was even those like new like police AI cameras. I don't know how lethal they are these days. So yeah, like I said, I didn't want to look suspicious. I'm not here to share any prejudice or bias. I'm here to give a balanced view and just report on the situation. So yeah, hope you understand about that. So I've come away from it all now. And I just wanted to say, like, you know, this has been in national news, and rightly so. Like, there's been a lot of uproar about it. Not that I'm not happy with, but it's easy to get agitated by headlines like this in the news, like, oh, they're building a massive mosque in the middle of the Lake District. So because I'm a local, I get to see things a bit more at face value. I can kind of have a more balanced approach. I guess there's really like two things that have sort of been out there as like misinformation, quote unquote. The first thing is that people are calling this a Lake District Mosque, and yes, it is very close to the Lake District. It's about 7 miles from the national park boundary, but technically, you know, they've got away with it because it's not actually in the Lake District. But the reason they're calling it as being in the Lake District is for two reasons really. One is because people in like the Barrow, Dalton, Ulverston, Furness area like to refer to themselves as living in the South Lakes or the Lake District. Many people know where Barrow and Furness is because it's not a very well-known town. So instead we like to say, oh, we live in the Lake District because people know where that is, and you know, rightfully so. It's one of the most beautiful parts in this country, if not the world. Humble brag. Quite frankly, you know, the Lake District is beautiful. It's the pinnacle of English heritage. So we like to kind of like flex and exaggerate and flaunt that we live in like a really nice area. So I guess the second thing is the fact that people are calling this a mega mosque. Now, I'll put some like footage up for you now for when I like quickly visited. But I don't know what the average size mosque is meant to be. But you know, if you look at the construction site, you account for like the parking spaces and stuff like that. It just looks like, you know, smaller than the average church to me. I mean, there's no like minarets. I think they're the towers that tend to go on the mosque, so it's not going to be like prominent in the landscape. It's covered by trees. It's by the main road. I don't know if I'm taking that literally, but yeah, that's just from what I saw. Now, as an Englishman that's grown up in these lands for my whole life, I have a very core ancestral tie to people that have lived here before me. So, you know, I absolutely share the pain that, you know, one of the most core parts of English heritage, you know, the Lake District, you know, the birth of people like William Wordsworth, John Ruskin, Beatrix Potter, and you've got all the beautiful lakes and landscapes, caves, and all sorts like that. So I absolutely share the concern that a mosque is being built very, very close to a very, very core part of English heritage. But the thing is, this really hits home for me personally as a local, because I've started going to church in the same parish where this mosque is being built. And at the moment, 2 of these churches won't even last till the end of the year because they are severely underfunded. And that's what actually got me back into Christianity, because I do come from like a Christian family, especially on my mum's side. So I kind of tried to, go away from my atheist roots and go towards my Christian roots to try and not solve the problem, but at least help it and support the Christian community in my area. Because the fact that we're going to lose 2 churches by the end of the year because not enough people are going to church, and a mosque is going to come along in that place, it really does hit home. Then again though, like, it is a bit hypocritical for people like that don't go to church, that aren't Christian, that have stopped being Christian even though ancestors were all Christian, because this was a Christian country, you know, very long ago. Believe it or not, this was a Christian country. Atheism was not about. If people were actually Christian and they sort of, you know, went against the Muslims for wanting to build a mosque, like, can you really blame the Muslims for wanting to, you know, build their place of worship in an area that they live in if Christians aren't holding up on their end? Because if we're being really honest with ourselves, atheism in its, you know, purest form, I'd say like the sort of faith that 90% of people have in this country now, especially of white British heritage, there's no actual core belief. The whole belief system, spiritually speaking, is very, very weak. There's no place of worship to go and pray, seek this purpose bigger than oneself. There's no like self-actualization, the sort of like the top of where, what's it called, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's no self-actualization there. It's not like you're really, what are you like really dying for? What ideologies are you really dying for when you're atheist? Now, I kind of struggle to kind of put this in a metaphorical sense where people can understand, but let's just like picture a hypothetical scenario, right? Like, pretend that, you know, in this area where this mosque is being built, there's 20 full vibrant churches that every Sunday it's absolutely packed full of all these Christian communities, and everyone there was, you know, very, very devotedly religious, just like they were like 100, 200 years ago. The council, the government in the area relied on Christian values. The police force, they don't just pamper to a certain community just in fears of being called racist, or they just police because they're policemen. They have no hidden agenda. So pretend we had 20 churches, 24 vibrant churches, and then one mosque comes along for the small Muslim community in the area. Like, if you think about it in that sense, would it really be a big deal? Because the main sort of worry is the fact that Islam is coming to take over, and you know, we've seen the big ideology change in this country for the past 50 years or so with migration, but now it's becoming mass migration, and the Islamic birth rates are going up whilst, you know, people of our kin aren't having births. And I will call this conquest, because it really doesn't take a genius to actually know this. I mean, you can just look on the website with some just basic research. You go on there, the front page, it says Our Vision for the South Lakes Islamic Centre, that's what it's called. And it says to make the South Lakes a place of choice for Muslim families. Now that to me indicates that they want to deliberately promote the area for, you know, more Muslim families to come. Once more Muslim families are in the area, you know, they're not going to have more than one mosque, and so they're going to build another one and another one, and more churches are going to get underfunded and shut down because not enough people are going to church. And then you'll start seeing the whole sort of change in the culture and the dilution of English heritage. I think another thing that people are actually fearing with this mosque coming is going to bring more Muslims to the area, and therefore an increased rate of grooming gangs. I mean, we all know about the grooming gang scandal that's been covered up by the government for 10, 20 years or so. And I think it was back in February. I'll probably put a picture on the screen now. I'll put like a link in the description. But there was some recent convictions of Asian grooming gang in the Barrow area, which is very close by. And obviously Barrow is surprisingly very notorious for the fake grooming gang scandal that happened a few years ago with the likes of Eleanor Williams, who accused many men of false accusations. I can't say the actual word on YouTube. So yeah, you'd think there'd be like a sort of mixed bucket of, you know, people's thoughts on Muslims in the area. But I think with this recent conviction, it does show that even with Eleanor Williams' false accusations, you know, grooming still is happening in this area, and probably still is. And quite frankly, you know, could it get worse? That's the real question. Could it really get worse? So with that being said, the worries of the grooming gangs, the worries of actually being replaced in our own country, kind of safe to say that the police and the people that are organising the building of this mosque are very worried about racist attacks, or just, you know, general attacks in general to try and stop this mosque being built. I did actually see a petition on I think it's change.org, where people were trying to petition to actually, you know, halt the whole construction of the mosque altogether. When I actually went to click on that link, the link was redundant, like the website didn't take me anywhere. That got me thinking, like, is this trying to be censored or anything? I think a day later I looked on the website again, and there was 4 different petitions. One of them had like 4K signatures. I'll probably put a link on the screen now, or a picture on the screen now about that if you want to go over and sign it. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to bring that up as well, because as you see from the clips as well, like I went to the site, I felt intimidated. You know, this is my first time doing some sort of like independent journalism where I'm trying to give like a sort of balanced view, and you know, I don't know if you know, it's just my lack of experience that made me feel intimidated by all the CCTV and the signs about being police protected or whatnot. Maybe if I was with someone else, yeah, and like had more experience, it would have been better. So yeah, that's the end of this waffle. I hope you enjoyed that, like quick video or whatever. I think it's about 10 minutes now, isn't it? But yeah, just show you a quick view. We're on the edge of the lakes here. This is Morecambe Bay, beautiful place. But yeah, stay woke.